welcome to my channel. Are you ready for a spine-chilling tale that will leave you with goosebumps? This is a story about a young child who had a habit of waiting up for their dad to come home from work. One night, however, things took a terrifying turn. As the child waited, a sinister figure entered their home, and what followed was a series of unexplainable events that left the family in a state of fear and confusion. Join us as we dive into this bone-chilling story of the unknown and the supernatural. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Okay, let's begin. As a 6-year-old, I had a nightly habit of waiting up for my dad to come home from work. However, one particular night, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was different. As usual, I sat in the living room, engrossed in my favorite cartoon, waiting for my dad to come home. However, the minutes turned into hours, and he still hadn't returned. Just as I was about to give up and go to bed, I heard a knock on the door. I rushed to open it, thinking it was my dad, but instead I found a stranger standing outside. He was a tall, dark, and menacing figure with piercing eyes that seemed to stare right through me.
"Is your dad home?"
he asked, his voice cold and sinister. I shook my head, and before I knew it, he barged into the house, making his way to the living room. I followed him, trying to keep a safe distance, but the stranger turned around and glared at me.
"What are you doing here?"
he growled. I tried to run, but he caught me by the arm and dragged me into one of the empty rooms in the house. I was terrified, and my heart raced as I heard him lock the door from the outside. Hours passed, and I was trapped in the room, with no way out. It was pitch black, and all I could hear was the sound of my own breathing. Suddenly, I heard footsteps approaching the door, and I froze in fear. The door creaked open, and the stranger walked in, holding a knife in his hand.
"Don't be afraid,"
he said in a sickeningly calm voice.
"I just want to play a game with you."
I screamed, but he put his hand over my mouth, muffling my cries.
"Don't scream. We're going to play a little game, and if you win, I'll let you go."
I knew it was a lie, but I had no choice but to play along. He pulled out a deck of cards and asked me to pick a card. I chose the Queen of Hearts, and he smiled.
"Now, if you guess which hand the Queen of Hearts is in, I'll let you go."
He held out both hands, and I hesitated for a moment before choosing the one on the left. He opened his hand, and I saw that I was wrong. Suddenly, he lunged at me with the knife, and I screamed at the top of my lungs. Just as I thought it was the end, the door burst open, and my dad rushed in, grabbing the stranger by the neck and dragging him out of the room. The police arrived soon after, and the stranger was arrested. After the incident, my dad and I moved to a new home, but I could never shake off the feeling that the stranger was still watching me, waiting for his chance to strike again. I soon discovered that the house we had moved into was haunted, and that the stranger was not the only one watching me. The ghosts in the house were restless, and they would often appear to me in the dead of night. I would wake up to find them hovering over my bed, their eyes filled with malice and anger. I knew I had to do something to protect myself. I sought the help of a paranormal investigator who told me that the ghosts were trapped in the house and that I had to help them find peace. I embarked on a journey to uncover the secrets of the house, and as I delved deeper into its history, I discovered a shocking truth. The house was built on the site of an old graveyard, and the ghosts were the restless spirits. As my dad and I walked down the hallway, we heard strange noises coming from the kitchen. We both froze in our tracks, unsure of what to do next. My heart was pounding so hard in my chest, I was convinced it was going to burst. Suddenly, the kitchen light flickered on, and we heard the sound of footsteps coming towards us. I could see the terror in my dad's eyes as he pulled me closer to him. It was then that we saw a figure emerge from the darkness. It was a tall, dark figure with long, bony fingers and glowing red eyes. Its face was twisted into a sinister grin, and it let out a chilling cackle that sent shivers down my spine. The smell of decay and death wafted through the air, making it difficult to breathe. The figure spoke in a raspy voice.
Welcome, little one. I've been waiting for you.
My dad quickly grabbed my hand and we bolted down the hallway towards the front door. We could hear the figure chasing after us, its footsteps getting closer and closer with every passing second. Just as we reached the door, the figure let out a blood-curdling scream and vanished into thin air. We both collapsed onto the floor, gasping for air and trying to make sense of what had just happened. Over the next few weeks, strange things continued to happen in our house. Objects would move on their own, doors would slam shut without warning, and we would hear voices whispering in the darkness. We sought the help of several paranormal investigators, but no one could explain the mysterious events that were taking place. One night, as I was lying in bed, I heard a faint tapping on my window. I tried to ignore it, but the tapping grew louder and more insistent. I slowly got out of bed and crept towards the window, my heart pounding in my chest. As I peered out into the darkness, I saw the figure standing outside my window, its glowing red eyes fixed on me. It beckoned me to come closer, and I could feel its icy breath on my face. I screamed for my dad, and he came running into the room, but when he turned on the light, the figure had disappeared once again. We eventually moved out of the house, but the memory of that terrifying figure stayed with me for years. To this day, I still wonder what it was and why it was so fixated on me. Thanks for joining us for this chilling story. It's a reminder that there are still unexplained phenomena in this world that we may never fully understand. Have you ever had a supernatural encounter that left you shaken? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more spine, tingling stories like this. Until next time, stay safe and beware of the unknown.